Zombies think they're coming for you until they're walking away with bullets in their back. How you doing? I'm Rebel, and welcome back to 7 Days 2.0. Today I'm showing you one of my absolute favorite base designs. It's one I've relied on previous versions that forces zombies to take a specific path with their backs turned to me the entire way. It's simple, effective, and savage. Let's get to building. We got a plot of land picked out right next to my makeshift road here, and the thing that's different about the way that this base is built is you don't start with the zombie's entranceway, you don't start with your bunker, you actually start mid-build, their pathway. So the first thing that I like to do is build up. Normally I'm gonna have a zombie ditch or a zombie pit that the zombies are gonna fall into, but for this build, I'm just building everything on the ground. So in order to do that, to keep the zombies from going to destroy everything mode, you have to go up. I'm guessing the numbers have changed and we haven't really figured out exactly what the numbers are, but between 13 and 15 blocks high. So once you get that 13 to 15 block high pathway, you're gonna switch over to the pole side centered. You're gonna advanced rotate this. Trying to get it just right. 7. There we go. Now we got a nice long pole side centered pathway for the zombies to take. Once you get that done, you can hop back down. Try not to break any legs. It's gonna happen. And start building up another pillar that's right in the center. Look at that, perfect. And then once you have that built, take these ramp pieces that are advanced rotated on their side. They're just the standard ramp in the basic tab. And build up all the way back up to meet your pillar. And then you do the exact same thing on the other side. Advanced rotate it again, and repeat the process. And all this is doing is making their entranceway into the base a little bit wider, so that when they do get up here, it's going to be a whole bunch of zombies that are forced into one small pathway. This should help eliminate a lot of the bunching up. They'll literally come up the pathway, whichever way you choose, ladders or stairs. I normally build this base with ladders, but I know a lot of people prefer it done with stairs so you don't like get rid of the animals completely. But I usually build this base with just ladders. Then after that, I give them a floor. The length of it doesn't really matter as long as you're happy with it, I guess. I typically go pretty far away because I like my bases bigger, and I usually tend to overdo my bases on a massive scale. But this not only helps you, it helps them. So the way that it helps you is if you do get a demo or you get something that explodes, it'll help you not destroy the floor and break your pathway. And then this outside wall is just going to be one solid layer of concrete, which is going to be all the way up to your fighting position. You're going to do this on both sides. This doesn't need to be solid concrete, but I suggest making this portion at least 3 high solid. Just the very, very base of the structures, 3 high solid. If you are limited on resources, I would suggest leaving that area hollow, except for the bottom 3 layers. The bottom 3 layers are kind of important. And the reason why that's important is because you don't want the zombies to fall off of the platform and then start beating away over here to try to get back into the entranceway of the base. Rather, you want them to run all the way around and cycle through again. All right, I'm gonna speed through putting the walls of this base up just because it's pretty self-explanatory, and that way you don't have to sit through watching me just lay block after block after block after block. I'll be right back. If you are building this in one of your playthroughs, the base doesn't have to be 15 blocks tall, but they do need a 15 block fall to keep them from going into destroy everything mode. So if it's not 15 blocks tall, let's say it's only a 7 block tall pathway, you're gonna have to dig down 8 blocks under this pillar and under all of the future pillars that we haven't built yet. And then on top of that, you're also gonna have to give them a way out from that 15 block fall. Otherwise, they go into destroy everything mode, dig under your base, and collapse the whole thing. So what I'm gonna do is add in these ramp pieces just to give them a little bit easier of a pathway into the base. And with the corners, I'm actually going to use, it's not under basic. If you just type in corner and then wedge, ramp outside corner full. Just gonna put these on both the ends just to kind of even it out, make it a little bit easier for them. Hopefully they don't just start beating at the pathway right here. Since you're trying to protect their pathway as much as possible, what I like doing is take these narrow pieces. If you just go under wedge, type in NARR, it's these first 4 that pop up. Go 4 blocks up, and just, here's the fourth block, third block, second block, and first block. I'll show you what I mean. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's the first block. We're going to switch over to the wedge narrow full. And from here, it gets a little bit easier because you can just copy rotation. Takes forever getting that first set going, but copy rotation. And then we're going to switch over to the next one. Copy rotation. Copy rotation. And last but not least, we're going to go to the wedge narrow highs. Copy rotation, down, copy rotation, down, copy rotation, down. There we go. So not only does that add structural stability to the pathway, but it also deters the zombies from just walking up and just start beating here, because there's going to be no point. They're going to have to beat through 3 layers of concrete just in order to take that pathway down. And the next block is this wedge narrow tip corner. You're going to advance rotate this. Same method. So once you get those placed, then you go to the next one. The more you do this, the quicker you'll be. Once you get those 4, move on to the next one. And last but not least, the wedge narrow corner high. There we go. Now we got a solid foundation for not only our base, but the pillar that they're going to be walking on. Now here comes the hard part, the stairs. So I want the zombies off of my walls. I don't want them to be right next to the wall. So what I'm going to do is the first thing I'm going to do is put down a scaffolding ladder so that I can get up and down. Actually, we're going to use a regular ladder. I like the way this one looks better. And just put this right down the center, all the way down. Now they have a fail-safe ladder just in case they have a hard time with stairs, or in case they destroy the stairs. And then from here, you didn't guess it, it's the stairs. And we're just gonna build the stairs mixed with the ramp pieces all the way down. Now right when you get to about halfway down, you're probably gonna have to install some pillars, just because the stairways, building them this way, isn't very structurally sound. It makes way more sense to take regular block shapes and actually fill in all through down here. But I like the way this looks better. So what I usually do is go about halfway. Yeah, I want this to look nice. So rather than the cubes, the pillar, 0.5 meter, center plate 01. And then when we're building, we're gonna reuse this at the top. So don't get rid of it just yet. But we are going to need the regular standard pillar 5 meter just to build up. Now, depending on how big of a base you build, you might actually have to put in a few pillars along the pathway. And I think, I could be wrong, I didn't do the math, but I think the rule of thumb is however high you build in order to get your stairs to line up properly, that's how far out you have to build too. So if this is 14 blocks tall, it should be 14 blocks long, at least to the end of the stairs. Yep, 14 blocks long. So however tall you are, you have to make sure that you're deep enough in order for the stairs to actually match up with the height of your base. That's going to determine how long your base is. So if you only have a 7 block high pathway, but you have a zombie pit, you're only going to need a 7 block long stairway. And once you have that completed, that is the beginning of the zombie pathway. They have an option of stairs or ladder over to here. Here's where it gets a little bit tricky because you're gonna need multiple of these pillars and pathways to keep it stable. But before we get into making the zombie pathway any longer, we need our fighting position. And for that, I usually go to about right there for the start of my foundation, which is 6 blocks away from the stairway. And that will give the zombies plenty of clearance to get up and down the stairs, and it'll also give them plenty of clearance to not actually throw things at you. But you can also get creative with this to give them even more room of, rather than using blocks, you can use any of these to make it look nice, make it look, stylized how you want it. I am going to use these in this orientation, and that will give them even less of an opportunity to hit because their head is further away from the top of the block. I'm gonna switch back over to the normal cubes and fill this in. Now, to keep the zombies from making their way up this way and then turning around and trying to fight through here, you want to put in all of the walls just like this, but you're gonna wanna match this to the height of your roof, basically. And for me, I always go 3 blocks up, and then the 4th block is the actual roof. And the reason why I always make my roofs 4 blocks tall is personal preference, in all honesty. I can't stand it when I'm in a base and I have to have a roof that's directly over my head. You can't jump, you can't dodge, you can't do anything else. But with a 4-block pathway, it makes it a little bit easier for you to navigate. So if I got a 4-block, I got a little bit of a jump distance. It's not much, but it's better than not being able to jump at all. If you have some steel laying around. Just a big if. It's not necessary, but if you have some steel laying around, I suggest from there to there being all steel. And the only reason for that is because I have seen it in the past where zombies run up, and instead of taking this pathway, they'll actually turn and start beating away at this foundation to try to get to you. And normally, I try to keep this area here open because I don't want them funneling and hitting the walls. Don't want that. I want them to all be fighting for this position. Now, there are the spider zombies that can make the jump across, so eventually you're going to want to wall this off with probably the best bet of scaffolding ladders. But before we do that, we're going to finish up the zombie pathway. So we're going to come over to the edge, grab our pole side centered, rotate it in the direction that we need to rotate it in, advanced rotate it in the direction we need to rotate it in, and make our way over. I found that going 9 blocks away from your root source is pretty safe in terms of stability, but you are going to have to build up from the ground all the way up to the top of the base. So if you come over, make sure you count exactly how many blocks you are away from the top of the pillar. So this one, we're 9. All right, so it's starting to take shape now. We have their entrance, their pathway, and our fighting position started. Once you get to this point, you have to do the exact same thing, going back towards the front, the entrance of the base. And again, I would go with the 9-block rule, and 9. And then from here, we're gonna drop our cube shape in, go all the way down, build the pillar up. Keep doing this until you can actually get to your fighting position. So if I'm going here, if I'm a zombie, I'm running through, we need to eventually meet up over there somewhere. All right, we got our 9th pole side centered. Put a block in, and then this is where we're actually going to meet up with our base. All right, so now we have a complete loop. The zombies run up the stairs, run over, long pathway. All right, now that we got their pathway all worked out, we're gonna build up our fighting position. And there's actually a reason for putting the wedges in the front, and that is because we're gonna take scaffolding ladders, and that is gonna keep the zombies from actually being able to break through our barrier. But we're also going to use these, where are they at? Catwalk V1 rail only. And while I was doing the live stream testing, one of the subscribers, Bridget, I think, gave me the idea to have 2 different layers. So if they do, it's not very likely, but if they do squeeze through this barrier, we still have our fighting position I'm hoping, I don't know if it's gonna work, but I'm hoping that because her back is to me the entire time, I'm hoping that the Plague Spitter and the Frost Claw, you done? Won't throw a boulder and won't spit bees at you because their back is to you the entire time. Don't know if it's gonna work. That is completely untested. I want a block that's gonna stop their ability to see me, as well as my ability to melee through. Still haven't found it yet. So I know that this is a small window and you're not gonna be able to get headshots with this. Your main fighting position is gonna be right here. As they're coming up, that's where you're gonna be laying down all the lead. And since we're here, we might as well scaffolding ladders, and we're gonna rotate these in our normal direction, which is the opposite direction of the way that they normally come. So we got the pull top and the pull double. And that block isn't really necessary, but I do like it just because it adds an additional layer of protection. If a Frost Claw is gonna throw something at us, it'll give us that one extra sheet of protection, but still gives us pretty decent visibility. And then we're gonna come over to this side and wall off the rest of the base. Now, if you're anything like me, I like having an open base. If I was building this base without the new zombie types that are more projectile based, I would have this whole area open, not necessarily unroofed, but like this whole, I would have a window in this whole area. But because the zombies projectiles work off of line of sight, I walled off the entire area front and back. There's no way a zombie can see me unless they're right here staring at me or right here staring at me. They can't see through arrow slits, so we're good there. If I'm fighting here and a Frost Claw spawns right there, it's not very likely. But at the same time, I am still going to wall this off to give myself a little bit more protection. And I'm only gonna wall off half of it. That's my one window that I get for this base. Right here, because 90% of my fighting is going to be done right here, and the likelihood of a Frost Claw seeing me way out there or a Desert Plague Spitter way out there is minimal. And you also can't forget to give yourself a way out if need be. So I'm going to put in some ramp pieces, and then a single iron door, and then a ladder for my fighting position. There we go, just a single little ramp. It's not suspicious at all, is it? That helps me get in and out of my base unhurt. And since you have this giant roof above your head that you are going to still want to protect, you might want to think about throwing in a turret of some sort, or possibly just some spikes would work. You're going to have to protect somehow. I'm going to throw up some spikes, see how that works out. All right, now that you got the majority of the base built, you can do anything else you want to it. You can add in spikes, add in electric fence posts, dart traps, blade traps, whatever you want. I've actually ran one of these bases before where this entire pathway, I didn't have any stairs, I just had ladders, but this entire pathway was lined with blade traps. So they had to get through, it was like 8 blade traps just to make it to my position. But before we get to that point, you have to remember to do the exact same thing that you did to this pillar to every other pillar. Because if you don't, they're going to fall off and say, hey, if I destroy this one pathway, it's going to completely ruin his Horde Night, which will cause all the other zombies to start beating away at the foundation, which will crumble your base, and ruin your night. There, all the pillars are set up. The entranceway, my entranceway, their pathway, my fighting position. Think we're good. All right, now I think I just need to paint it. I know I'm not great at making like the tutorial how-to step-by-step guide videos, but I have been trying to improve on it a little bit. And there's always one key thing that I forget to put in, or one thing that I accidentally edit out, or there's always some bit of information that just seems to not work or not go exactly how I had planned. But I am trying to do better about it, and I am trying to make it a little bit more understandable. So if you do have a question about this base build, if you're just curious of how I built a specific aspect of it, or if I skipped over an important step, first of all, sorry. Second of all, put it in the comments below, because there might be something that I skip over or forget to add in, or even if you just have your own tip or base build idea that you want to see, throw that in the comments too, because I'm always looking to try new things. I do have one that's in mind that I'm looking at building, but It is so massive that I think I'm going to use the actual editor to do it. It's like the world editor, the generation editor, I forgot what it's called. But I think that's going to be more along the lines of one of those bases where you're not going to see like any of the build. That's how massive it is. It's not going to be fun to build, but once it's done, I'm going to be very happy that I built it, I think. I hope. All right, I almost got the whole thing painted up completely, and I just realized that I almost forgot one of the most important pieces, and that is this ramp piece that goes right above their head, and then you take the corner pieces for the ramp pieces, and wall them off just like that. So that way when the zombies do jump, they get pushed back away from your fighting position, and hopefully down on the ground. There is one other block that I like to use, and I haven't used it in a while, just because it is kind of a little bit overpowered. Not really, just a little bit, which is these wedge 60 inclines, half left filler and half right filler. You can use the full one, but I like the smaller ones. And I just want to put one on the ground there. And that kind of pushes the zombies off to the right, so that if they do bunch up, they just kind of fall off the sides, hit the ground, have to cycle through. One of the other things that you can do is you can put hatches down here. So destroy one of the layers of the blocks of the ground and put a hatch here, and then you can drop grenades down to the floor, or pipe bombs or Molotovs or whatever you want to drop down there. But I think this base, I'm going to run it bare bones. Maybe just one electric fence post at the very start down here, just so that I can hear when the zombies are coming up. So there's a high likelihood of that getting destroyed, but as the zombies walk up the ladder, or walk up the stairs, I'm going to get a notification, obviously in form of the electricity going through the wire. And I think that about covers it. I am going to ditch all of these dev tools. I know that's an unpainted ladder. I'm going to ditch all the dev tools and all the extra blocks, and then we'll start a Horde Night. Alright, I hope this goes well, because I did that one zombie Arlene that ran up and took the pathway. She was the only test that we did for this entire base. I think it's going to work out. This is my absolute favorite design of a horde base. We got our usual assortment of weapons. We got a spear. We added the steel club, a pistol, desert vulture, auto shotty, SMG, tactical assault rifle, a nail gun, first aid, and bandages, and first aid kit. We got bacon and eggs and yucca juice, some extra spikes just for our pathway, or enough ammo for an army, and some repair kits. Nothing left to do but start the horde. Dev mode off, creative mode off, set time. Day 70, 21:58. This might go horribly wrong. Welcome to my favorite horde base ever made. I see him moving in. And they're taking the pathway. Cop already came in. See it charged. Soldier, he's up and running. Balls. Everybody's getting stuck down there. Down she goes. Come on over. Down you go. Cops. Charged. I haven't seen any infernals yet. No desert spitters. Plague spitters. I always say that. I gotta stop saying desert spitters before I make that a habit. Not today, sir. They're making their way through. Had a bunch of zombies show up, and this one block pushed them all off. But for the most part, this base does really well at handling large amounts of hordes. Probably should have done this before the horde started. 3 deaths, 994 kills. And I didn't get a chance to see the game stage. 231 is the game stage. Down you go. That's enough of you. You've had your fun. I've let you play a little bit too long. Ah! Oh yeah, that's right. Can't get me. Down you go. Thank you. I want to see the Plague Spitter and Frostclaw in this base. But I don't want to have to turn dev mode back on to get them. So you guys are going to have to tell me what you would like to see. 148 skill points to spend already. Look at these guys just swiping away at nothing. I'm wondering. I got to keep an eye. I still got zombies coming up the stairway. I was wondering. I saw a bunch of zombies on the ladder, so I was wondering if maybe they destroyed a part of the stairwell. Excuse me. Can you go away? Ladies, you want to help me out a little bit? There you go. Have a nice fall. So this is the nice thing about this base. Everybody faces away from me, so you don't really have to worry a whole lot about cop spit from this angle. It's all of your danger is going to be coming from the same direction. It was almost destroyed. You guys are doing a number on this place. Good job. Sir. Thank you for your service. I appreciate it. You can go away, though. We don't need any. None of you. And just like you don't need your arm, I don't need you here. Thank you. Ma'am, stop it. Fall. And there are other things that I've done in the past that gives me even more visibility. I have... Go away. I have put holes in here in the floor, and I have made it so that I have like patches. So essentially I can aim down sights as they're coming into the base from above. Yeah, I think he got me. Sir. No blowing up right in my face. Ma'am, you're back. The one-armed lady. Hazmat. Sir. No infections for me, please. Biker, thank you for stopping by. Yeah, these rails, man, these things are amazing. In combination with other stuff like the dual layering, amazing. Not seeing anybody take the stairs anymore, which is concerning. Yeah, that stairway broke. And I'm guessing the other ones broke too. Yeah, they're all coming up the ladder now. It's a good thing we built that ladder. Bye. You don't need legs. Oh, I know it's rough. Rough life. I am not a fan of these charged zombies, man. I gotta be honest. The charged and infernal zombies, I don't like the design of how they can just destroy blocks all willy-nilly. Don't spit, don't spit. Come on, reload. He got the spit. That's okay. You gotta give them what they want every once in a while. Man, they just tearing apart these stairs. Sir, you're just gonna fall if you chew away at your own footing. Don't you dare. See him climbing up to the roof? No. Get off of your friends' heads. Brrr, you got a reach. You got a nice big long reach on you, buddy. No. I hear you. You back? See if I can help you out. Thank you. Yeah, see how they're trying to chew away at this wall? Yeah, what they're trying to do is destroy the wall so that they can actually not have to take the red path, the pole side center, red pillar, all the way around to this spot. They're just trying to destroy their way in. And That's fine, because it kind of keeps them paused right where I need them to pause. And they still don't face me. No problems. Uh-oh. I wasn't paying attention and they destroyed my first layer of wall here. So we lost a lot of blocks in terms of stairways. But in terms of like actual pathways other than the stairs, we're doing good. We lost one block. That's the design right there. He makes his way through and now he's stuck. But now we have to make sure that we keep this fully repaired, because if we don't, could be a problem. I haven't used any health kits. How you guys doing? No drinks, no food, no water. Haven't used anything. Obviously our health isn't the greatest. Yeah, there's Horde Night. Have fun walking. And clearing these guys out, as long as you don't call in a screamer, which I probably will, it's fairly simple. I know, it hurts. It's not supposed to tickle. Down. Oh, you're lucky I had the reload. Down to 40 HP. Looks like that's it. There's the end of Horde Night. My favorite base design still holds up. Honestly, it works almost too good against the hordes. I love how this setup forces them exactly where I want them, backs turned, clueless, and ready to drop. If you found this helpful, want more Savage base builds like this, or have any ideas for improvements, you already know the rest of the deal. Like, share, comment, subscribe, notification bell. I'll see you in the next episode. Peace, I'm out of here.